NTA. You can't beat the rich.
The finals of the Men and Women African Cup of Nations. It's always frenetic. On days such as this, there are no tribes, no religion. Here, Nigerian warriors are out to represent, to show the skills that makes us the best. On days like this, the color.
One-stop information center, real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines.
Led to the loss of the nation's cultural norms and values. This unfortunate development was blamed on the leaders of the country who have failed to lead by example. The guest, comprising Ike Naokoli, author of the book The Change Begins With Me, which was published before the present government took over power, and Nollywood Best Actor of the Year Daniel K. Daniel, are of the opinion that much as good parental upbringing contributes to molding strong moral character in individuals from the cradle, the example of leaders plays a strong role in sustaining such values.
What we mean doing the right thing, it's not about self-righteous. It is about basic universal principles of honesty, integrity, hard work.
The entertainment industry has a big role to play because most young people, even elderly people, see entertainers as role models.
Other guests on the program suggested reliance on the educational system by encouraging a reading culture among youths.
One of the ways that we can effectively engage youth is to actually give them a voice, and you give them a voice at the decision-making table.
If I'm asked to a kind of proffer an idea on how we are going to go about this, I am going to say something like a sort of partnership. Change along with me.
They said for the change begins with midrive of the federal government to succeed, there should be a working partnership between the government and the people, with each effectively doing its part. In Abuja, Joy Uzo, NTA News.
Turning to religious matters, the Nigerian military has been urged to sustain the tempo of its operations in the northeast to ensure that terrorism is wiped out. The call was in a message delivered by the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, during a launch with the Nigerian Air Force troops in Maiduguri and Yola to mark the Salah celebrations. Defense correspondent Isaac Nkuma reports.
These are not the regular faces of the Nigerian Air Force personnel. These are the young and gallant officers and men of 79 Composite Group, Maiduguri, from the trenches in the theatre of war. It is a day for merrymaking. This gathering, the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Sadiq Abubakar, who was represented, says is to appreciate the troops for the success recorded in the fight against insurgency in the northeast and acknowledge the supreme sacrifice made by their colleagues to keep the region and nation safe.
The good work which you are doing in the northeast is highly appreciated and commended by the President Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces.
Before leaving for Yola, the Chief of Air Staff inaugurated an aircraft shelter and inspected ongoing projects around the tarmac in the NAV base. At the Nigerian Air Force 75 Strike Group, Yola, the Chief of Air Staff assured the troops of their welfare and that of their families while commending their vigilance and quick response to assisting the ground troops in critical situations.
You have provided us with all the necessary facilities that will ensure our comfort and effective service delivery. We can only say thank you by giving full commitments to our duties. We therefore once again pledge our unwavering loyalty to the service of the Nigerian Air Force and the nation at large.
From the NAV base in Yola, Isaac Nkuma, NTA News.
Meanwhile, one of the essence of the Salah celebration is the spirit of sharing with friends, colleagues and neighbors. In this report, Abdullahi Musa Suleja sought to find out if this spirit of giving is prevalent among Nigerians.
Nigeria has of recent time flung into crisis on account of religious, ethnic, geographical and political divides. However, Islam and Christianity both preach good neighborliness. Islam specifically enjoins Muslims to share food and meat from the animal to be sacrificed at Eid al-Kabir. In fact, Islam scholars say the sacrificial animal should be divided into three. While one part will be for the worshipper, the second is for the gift, and the third part is for the needy or those who will not ask for it, regardless of their background. Going by this, Muslims who do not have and the non-Muslims should be seen to be part of the joyful mode.
Like this ram now with food and give to our non-Muslim neighbors, just as they do when they celebrate their Christians too. That goes in strengthening friendship and love.
What does that portend to the nation?
We are one, irrespective of the ways of the worship.
Some Christians interviewed said they have actually partaken of the celebration by way of receiving food and meat from their Muslim neighbors.
Before I came out this morning, my neighbor who was a Muslim have brought 100 yam. I have Muslim friends. Many are calling me now. We used to give right to the poor people. 5 mudu, 10 mudu, 2 mudu, because the situation of the nowadays is very hard.
Observers are of the view that if the teachings and the spirit of neighborliness could be sustained, Nigeria will be better for it. Abdullahi Musa Suleja, NTA News.
And most national holidays as well as festive seasons such as the Eid al-Kabir avail family and friends the opportunity to ease off from work stress and bond with loved ones. Ngufan Shaji visited some recreational centers in the city center.
The atmosphere here at the Mona Lisa Park is warm and welcoming. The weather seems relaxed, one in which you would expect that a park should be stacked up with people. But the situation seems a little bit different. Most of the seats and the swings, as you can see, are empty. This is because Some of the people that we spoke with earlier said the economic situation seemed to have affected the turnout to the fun of the Eid al-Kabir.
In fact, since we've been experiencing a festive period, we've never experienced such a very low turn-up like this.
However, at the Millennium Park, the turnout was quite impressive and the ambience reflected the mood of the celebration.
We're here to relax, to receive some fresh air.
We're just here to unwind today because we've been working all this while and we just got some time out to just have fun with our family members.
To celebrate the sacrifice and also to be thankful for the gift of life and remain focused in worship.
At the kids' funville, parents and their children were basking in the euphoria of the Salah while thanking God for his mercies on the nation and its people. Are you having fun?
Yes.
Okay, what have you done?
I've done the dragon, balloon, I've done the car, I've done so many things.
I think the Salah is a blessing.
Happy Salah.
In Abuja, Ufan Shaji, NT News.
Meanwhile, work resumes tomorrow nationwide after the 2-day Salah holiday declared by the federal government to mark Eid al-Kabir. Workers in the public and private sectors of the nation's economy are expected to comply accordingly. The federal government has inaugurated a technical committee to draft a new national justice sector policy for Nigeria. Solicitor General of the Federation and Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Justice, Mr. Taiwo Abidogun, inaugurated the committee. Femi Okero reports.
The national justice sector policy of any country is meant to define the relationship between the nation's prosecuting agencies, such as the police, the Attorney General's office, and the reformatory centers, such as the prisons. In Nigeria, a number of reforms had in the past been initiated for all these sectors. This committee, as part of its assignment, will therefore harmonize and integrate all these reforms. Solicitor General of the Federation, Mr. Taiwo Abidogun, who did the inauguration, said the policy would represent Nigeria's political philosophy with respect to justice delivery and provide a common direction for the sector.
It must be realized that the work of the committee is a necessary component of the overall agenda of this administration to promote respect for human rights and due process in both our domestic and international engagements.
The 16-member technical committee for the draft of the National Justice Sector Policy for Nigeria is headed by Professor Mohammed Tabiu, a professor of law.
Highly desirable initiative for Nigeria to have a justice policy that guides all of us, not just for one institution, not just for one level of government, but one that unites Nigerians.
The draft policy will be considered at a stakeholders forum in October for inputs before being presented for validation and adoption at the proposed National Summit on Administration of Justice to hold in November. In Abuja, Femi Okeowo, NTA News.
Following the suspension of scheduled operations by some airlines in the country, regulators and operators in the aviation sector have appeared before the Senate Committee on Aviation to explain what it describes as disturbing turn of events in the sector. National Assembly correspondent Dennis Adeguloye reports.
What are the reasons behind that? We know the economy is in recession, but air transportation in Nigeria nowadays is no longer a luxury. It is a necessity, and it will aggravate the economic hardship people are facing if airlines continue to suspend their operations.
The operators in question are the Aero Contractors of Nigeria, currently under the administration of the Asset Management Corporation of Nigeria, AMCON, and First Nation Airways. Director General of the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, Captain Mukhtar Usman, and representatives of the airlines give reasons for the suspension.
Our first priority is to protect human beings, that is the safety aspect of it.
29th of July, we landed, we're taxiing into Lagos. One of the engines flamed out.
Our liabilities more or less exceeded whatever we made.
Unavailable foreign exchange resulting from the economic downturn, as well as the underutilization of the Central Bank of Nigeria bailout fund for the aviation industry, are also identified as causes of the lull in operations.
There hasn't been a bailout that is targeted at salvaging the airlines.
For every naira you sell a ticket, how much of it goes out as taxes and levies and things? How much percent?
We put it at 40 cover.
40%. So how can anybody operate in such an environment?
The Senate Committee on Aviation is expected to further engage the Minister of Aviation, AMCON, and other relevant bodies on the matter. From the National Assembly, Dennis Adigunloye, NTA News.
Shelter, food, and water are critical needs for relative comfort in life. However, in most economies, these needs appear to be elusive to many people, as available statistics show that 235 million people the world over live in substandard houses. It is also viewed that by 2025, an additional 106 million people will be living as low-income earners, thereby making it difficult for them to afford substandard houses. But stakeholders in the sector says with practical steps, these predictions can be surpassed for urban settlers.
Affordable housing. Take a subsample of Africa, Egypt, Nigeria, Kenya, and South Africa. Between us, we need 25 million affordable housing. Today, as we speak, something in the region of 96 million urban households are described as being financially overstretched.
So the finance sector on the one side and the housing sector on the other. And certainly the way in which governments often operate is by keeping those two separate. The housing finance sector then brings those together. And within our union, within the African Union for Housing Finance, we create that synergy.
Now you're watching the news on NT International, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Still to come, Nigeria junior cricket team tops 8 Nation Division 2 qualifying series in South Africa. When we return.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
NTA International News. Africa as it is.
The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reaffirmed its commitment to conduct a free, fair and credible poll despite the shift in the date of the Edo governorship election to September 28, 2016. Ifeanyi Okafor reports.
The Independent National Electoral Commission has explained that the report that it reversed its earlier stance on the date of the Edo governorship election to favor a particular group or party is malicious and unfounded. The Director of Voter Education and Publicity reaffirmed INEC's commitment to carry out its mandate independently and free of external control and influence. He stated that INEC was 97% ready to conduct the exercise but had to shift the date due to security reports on attacks and the planned disruption of the polls.
We're worried about violence, we're worried about threats, we're worried about intimidation, corruption in the system, we are worried about all those things. We're worried about all the things that lead to inconclusive elections. We hope that the political class, the political parties and candidates and their supporters will act in accordance with the law. As long as there's no violence, as long as we play by the rules, as long as the law remains the way it is. We say, look, we will do all we can to ensure the elections are concluded at first ballot.
18,500 workers comprising INEC staff, corps members and some tertiary education students were deployed for the exercise, and the Commission believes that their safety and that of voters is paramount and would not be compromised. Meanwhile, some key players in the Edo election, while reacting to the postponement, urged INEC to use the relevant departments in the Commission for effective voter education and mobilization so as to avert any form of apathy come September 28th.
The information is important for our lives. One life lost is not worth election. So what are we talking about? Now you are not pointing finger that the security men have done wrong. No. Prevention is better than cure. It's better to prevent than aftermath when you begin to see medicine after death. So what is important now is for us to look at it. Let the security men look at the area, the gray area, the reason why they said the election be postponed. They have more information.
It's to call on Edo people to know that it's a watershed election. It's an election that will either take the Edo people forward or take them backwards. It depends, depending on their choice. And so it is important that they participate.
On the 28th, we just pray God, everything's just got to go right. Elections just has to hold, and it must be conclusive, without which would likely, very likely get into a constitutional lacuna. So my prayer is that on that day, I want to appeal to all the parties, appeal to all the good people of Edo State, that let's just have a free, fair, credible election. Whoever wins takes it. It's not a matter of life and death.
They also called on security agencies to be alive to their responsibilities. In Abuja, Ifeanyi Okafor, NTA News.
Nigerians have called on the management of the Nigeria Railway Corporation to step up its game, as there is always room for improvement. Adebola Brooksland Sunday was at the Idu railway station and reports that most of the passengers went home disappointed. He tells us why in this report.
It is one thing to provide infrastructure and the other to effectively manage it. The completion of the Abuja-Kaduna rail has been receiving commendations from Nigerians. On arrival at the station, we met few customers who were waiting for the boarding time.
The speed can be improved upon. Instead of like 2 hours, 40 minutes for the ride, it can be 2 hours or even lesser.
The few passengers in an orderly manner conducted themselves for ticket verification before boarding.
Everything outside there is very, very okay.
I needed to carry my children to come and see what is happening.
Around 9 stations from Idu and Rigasa in Kaduna State. Some passengers, however, suggest that there should be an extension of this project to every part of the country, as it will save cost and at the same time ease pressure on the road.
On our way out were customers trooping to board the same train that just left. Abdullah Ali is one of the passengers who missed the train.
Apart from losing the money we use in purchasing the ticket, we also lose the money in buying fuel from the city down to this place.
Some other disappointed passengers like Abdullah Haliu also suggests a way out of this challenge.
It would have been easier for us and in online booking something, so that as soon as you come, you just go straight to the place where you can enter the train.
We need to provide more accessible routes to the station.
Although very pleased with the development, customers want management of the station to make available shuttle buses within the city center for effective utilization of rail transport service in Nigeria. Adebola Brooksland Sunday, NTA News.
Time now for a check on commodity prices. Let's join Ede Aro.
Oil prices fell on Tuesday on concerns of oversupply crisis, with a forecast that global output will increase next year due to increased drilling in the United States. Brent crude fell 65 cents to trade at $47.67 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate dipped 73 cents at $45.56 a barrel. Gold rose after Federal Reserve said there is no reason to rush to rise U.S. interest rates, putting further dent in expectation for an increase over the remainder of 2016. The metal gained as much as 0.3% to trade at $1,332.15 an ounce. Ede Agu, NTA News.
Next, our reports trending outside Nigeria. Uche Nwizu is our guide.
The United States and 5 European powers have called on all military forces that have moved into one of Libya's main oil-producing areas to withdraw immediately. This came after fighters controlled by General Khalifa, who rejected the UN-backed unity government in Libya, seized some key oil ports from a militia loyal to the government. In Zambia, President Edgar Lunga has been sworn in after winning the August 11 presidential election. The inauguration followed the opposition's failed legal attempt to overturn the result. Away from Africa, United States and Israel have reached final agreements on a record new package of at least $38 billion in U.S. military aid. The 10-year pact is expected to be signed within days. And Luxembourg Foreign Minister Jean Alsabon has requested that Hungary be suspended or even expelled from the European Union due to its massive violation of EU fundamental values, as reported in its treatment of refugees, independence of the judiciary and freedom of the press. Hungary denied these allegations. Uche Nwizu, NTA News.
Turning to sports now, Nigeria's junior cricket team topping 8-nation Division 2 qualifying series in South Africa as Maria Sharapova keeps her date with Court of Arbitration for Sports. Amanzi Marcus has more on Sports Update.
Nigeria's under-19 men's cricket team moved another step closer to sealing qualification to Division 1 category for the 2018 Cricket World Cup. The Junior Greens recorded a third impressive win as captain Okpe Sylvester produced a captain's performance to hand Nigeria 209 runs all out in 49 overs against Sierra Leone on Monday after consecutive victories over Zambia and Rwanda to top the group. Next for Nigeria in the 8-nation Division 2 qualifying series is the match against Botswana on Thursday in Johannesburg, South Africa. Meanwhile, Nigeria's contingent recorded 2 gold medals on day 6 of the Rio 2016 Paralympics to place 10th with 6 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze medal to be reckoned the best African country in the games so far. The Chinese won 26 more medals on Monday to extend their commanding lead to 50 gold, 40 silver and 28 bronze medals with a total of 118 medals. Great Britain and Northern Ireland have a total of 63 medals, while hosts Brazil maintain their 5th position with 9 gold, 17 silver and 9 bronze medals. The group phase of the UEFA Champions League continues on Wednesday with 8 matches in Groups E to H. Club Brugge takes on Leicester City in Group G, while Italian champions Juventus host Sevilla with Lyon at home against Dinamo Zagreb. The Court of Arbitration for Sports has fixed
And that's all we have for you from NT International. We thank you for watching and do continue to enjoy your Salah holiday. I am Oko.